Hi, I'm Liz.
And I'm Rhea.
Welcome to Karma's My Bitch, a podcast about
sex,
love,
magic,
desire,
purpose,
bliss,
and how life isn't simply the stories we tell ourselves. I find it interesting that the two words in this title and subtitle, so happy and love, are the two words. We say happy diverges from bliss, but we've called our final episode in season 13 about bliss happy. And we say that love finds its space because bliss basically takes over everything. So explain to me how this is the final
and
episode
how
of the
bliss
season.
is. But don't forget the other piece, which is the one word that we invoke for this episode is fate, and bliss is about the unwritten part of our fate.
Yes, so explain to me
Guidance
all of this.
They love to be a little provocative, and they like being a contradiction a little bit. Love in the title is showing that it doesn't really go anywhere, with bliss. It's just our understanding of it had to evolve to such a degree that we needed to see where it fell once we get to bliss. So that way we understand that love really, while it feels like the end all and be all in many stages of our evolution and our growth, it stops being that for us once we get to the path to bliss.
You need three things to go open that door. One of them is love. All your core relationships are in place. Love.
Yeah.
And you need to have been in happy first.
Mm-hmm. For most. Yes, most. Some can bypass happiness.
Yeah. And you need to have also got into that part of your fate.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not anything becoming less important or redundant once you get into bliss. It's becoming deepened and heightened and widened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And bliss encompasses all of those things.
Yeah, because bliss is all. So you don't lose the stuff that you want to keep.
No.
You just make it better.
Yeah, and it's also just about accepting what serves and what doesn't. Hence the episode it was a few episodes ago in the Chapel in the Moonlight, one of the extra 5, where we talk about what do our core relationships look like in bliss, especially if those who are not in bliss, how do we keep those? And it's where are we at in love with those people? Where are they on their path to happiness? Happy is enough, and it will always be enough in this lifetime and for the next few lifetimes. We don't need to look beyond happy if we don't want to. It's a bit like, when spiritual people are all about enlightenment and nirvana and how much more can I do just to prove I'm worthy? Bliss does not make us any more worthy than happy or anything. It's just, they just don't even fall into the same category.
There are people who grow up and say, I want to be happy. And there are people who grow up and say, I want to be in bliss.
Yeah, and they might equate the two until they realize at some point in their evolution, oh shit, there's more. There's more to being than just being happy. And that's okay. It doesn't mean happy isn't good enough for me, or it's not, as we said, respectable. But the nature of the divine is to want more. So as we connect to the divine as we are, and as we know ourselves to be, we understand that actually we're very greedy. And I loved when they gave me this word. I'm finally so excited to get to use this. The divine is very greedy in the British sense of the word, where it's always hungry. And in that respect, it wants to attain, it wants to create, and it wants to own. But we cannot, and this is why this is the very last episode, we cannot understand that concept if we're coming at it from any memory of what people equate with greed, which is effectively power and influence. But the notion
and
of
we've
power,
had episodes on greed in this podcast. We had an episode on greed.
Divine power is that great, which is why, in separation, all those who came in place of the divine, since the divine cannot exist without wholeness, did precisely exercise that power to our great detriment, right? So it was damaging and beautiful. So that's why our world is ruled in polarity, where it is both beautiful and dysfunctional.
It's how the temples existed, right? There was beauty to it, and also it was super fucking damaging.
Yeah.
Because power could do both.
Yes, exactly. Because in separation. So if divine power exists separately, that's the polarity. That's where, it's either good or it's bad.
Heaven, hell.
And that's why we equate greed or hunger, the hunger for more, as something that's negative.
Because you've got to hurt someone to get it.
Yeah. You have to destroy something to be able to create. But that is how, when in wholeness, it operates together. And that's what we're coming back to. So by the time we get to bliss, we can own that power in a way in which we do not hurt others.
Because of the I thou, which is why we probably finished Karmic Adventure talking, both of us, about the I thou. And also why in the past couple of episodes we've been just discussing about kind of respect and relationships and all those different things, and compassion and detachment and generosity and potential and all the things in this whole season. We
had to stop understanding or interpreting power through the lens of separation, because that's what was causing all the damage, which is why we're constantly receiving all those messages of like, you cannot be in your full power. You have to make room, right? You get what you get and you don't get upset. It's like swallow, 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 repress, repress, repress. There's only one power, and that power is not you, because you do not know how to handle it. But that's not true. We have always known how to, but we've just believed the opposite. It takes healing all of that separation within to be able to come back into our power, so we know how to use it as it was fully intended, which was to continue to create, but this time to create a world with oneness principles. Effectively, with divine power, we create, we build, we own, we destroy, we make space to do more, and we become more. So that's the divine's modus operandi within human form on this earth plane. So long as we have our divinity, and so long as there are divine aspects within us, we're all going to have this capacity to one degree or another, the capacity for divine power and will to use as we see fit. But it's just not naturally wired within us. Like, as you said, you just were always afraid to use yours because you didn't want to hurt other people, because hurting other people's bad. Which before polarity, it wasn't bad. It was just part of the consciousness game. I mean, over lifetimes and incarnations, all we've done is have had our power stripped from us. Forcibly removed or dulled or bound in the name of separation. All of the tent poles that we've discussed, from economy to government to religion, all it's ever done was capitalize on the weaknesses that we've had because of our power being stripped. And that way they've maintained order and thrusting those of us who do not heed to hierarchies into this wilderness. So we become outliers. This is what's interesting about this. We all, at our core, are wild creatures. As in, we have the ability to act with force, to be brutal, and to crush. It is all born from the same power that seeks its survival. So do you remember that episode that we had earlier in the season about how the very same power that we use for our survival is also the power that we need to go and reclaim so we can become our fullest divine self, right?
Yes.
That's the power. The very power that seeks its survival is the same power that helps to bring forth through creation. So to propagate and to flourish. It is our very nature, this one aspect of the whole divine. So there's a part of us that is very wild, that has all of this within us.
That will stop at nothing to get what we want. Mm-hmm. But we've always been taught not to use that because you could hurt others in the process.
Hurt others, be bad.
Break rules, get punished for it.
But the divine is not wild or chaotic. So while we have this aspect within us, there is and has always been intention behind all of creation. The product of divine will, and thus its ability to go on in all of its form. We are just merely one of the many forms that has taken root and evolved.
So what are you saying with this whole bit?
This whole bit is saying that we need to go back and understand that when we are in bliss, we are at our fullest power capable as humans.
And it's okay to use it.
And it's not only okay to use it, it is within our wiring to use it, and it is pretty much what we are commanded to do.
Okay.
It's the only way in which we're going to end separation and change our world.
You want to stem my power? I'm going to show you how powerful I can fucking be.
Precisely. I'm going to show you why you cannot do that.
It's the call of the rebel.
Yes,
within.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And the commitment of the rebel within to create a world that suits them rather than conform to a world that does not.
Precisely.
So we take all that power that we've been using to...
Or that we haven't allowed ourselves to use.
Or that we've been using to stem ourselves. We all had, at some point, some of us sometimes still, it's that voice that tells us to be quiet, to shut up, to the things that, in the last episode or the one before that, how I was discussing how, when we'd have a podcast episode and I'd always think, oh, it's actually the negative. And then I'd have to go all the way around to understand that no, actually the unicorns and rainbows approach was what I could believe in and I could fight for. Mm-hmm. Right? All that power I was using to play mental gymnastics, all that power I was using to tell myself I had to conform, all that power that I was thinking about, even for my karma, of playing games, of telling myself to shut up, of hurting myself. I take all that power that's been kind of like festering inside and hurting me, and I use it for myself instead. To create what I do want, to put my force behind it, to put my will behind it, to fight for the unicorns and rainbows for me and my life and my world. It's a different kind. It's like where the karmic journey is the hero's journey in a karmic attraction. This almost takes on a different hue of that hero's journey. If I don't just fight for me, now I fight for my world. And I create that fucking world.
Yes. But to get to this point, again, this is where we're at a bliss. We have to evolve out of the parts of our wild selves, right? That wildness that seeks to hurt and destroy merely for the sake of destroying.
Because you're just so angry, you just want to burn the whole motherfucking thing down.
Exactly. Because as if, we're trying to maintain the tent poles and some sense of order. If we have this programming within us, we can call it our biological need, right? But we also have this divine power in us. What does that look like? So we know what it looks like in a separation world. Before polarity, it was like everything run amok, right? Squid Game on acid. Which is kind of a ride in itself. It's like, oh, I'm here, I'm not, like, I make it, I don't, like, that's cool. It's like what I'm here for. But the more lifetimes we've been, we've been coming in, we've had, and the more we evolve, and as we really do want to create a new world in which everyone can thrive and exist without hierarchy, but full cooperation and tolerance and all those tenets of 5D that we've discussed before, we need this other part of us to pair with that sense of divinity, the wholeness, peace, harmony. So we're going to use all of that divine power for our real betterment, for purpose, right? Just to be in service to. So we have to take those rebel selves of ours, of who we are and who we know ourselves to be, and direct that energy.
We can do it because we can do it.
Yeah.
So if we can do it, then we just use our consciousness to do it differently, better, but with the force that we are capable of.
Exactly. So not only does it require compassion, but also love, because that's what draws. Exactly. That's what draws two or more people together, isn't it?
So really, it's the building on a foundation of love in some ways.
It's more than just a foundation of love. It's the foundation of full oneness, of which one of the pieces of that foundation is love.
So love is still important.
Yes. Love is still important because it remains at the core of our humanness.
And it helps to restore our divinity because obviously, as we've explained in all the karmic books, love is effectively how we get to where we need to go.
Yeah, it's essential to our way of life. I mean, I know I'm not going to stop hearing about love in this lifetime, right? Or in the next. Like it's still fundamental to our understanding of relationships. And so 5D is relational. If our future world will continue to be relational for a good time and a good while, it's still going to be there. Which is why, sometimes I find this whole like bliss love thing just kind of funny. Because I'm like, all right, well, love still isn't going anywhere, guys. Like, we still see it.
And also, like, love is so that feeling of connection, that feeling of sharing that light and everyone seeing that light, or just one person seeing that light with you. It's really fucking yummy.
Yeah.
And for me, that would be a big component of bliss.
Absolutely. So by the time we get to happy and beyond, love is really woven into one of our many aspects. It informs how we operate in an unwritten world.
Yeah, because without love, there's a hole there, right?
Yeah. Like as we said, like with some of these core relationships and where we're at, like it was a couple episodes ago, right? It was I might still, in those core relationships, might be some people who are struggling. They might still be a little bit in hell or in their post-karma world, but maybe feeling a bit purposeless. But, if their core motivation is love, if their core motivation is happiness, if they're still seeking beyond what they know, we're good, because we're going to be able to match up, if not in frequency, then vibration enough, where it's not going to be too difficult. But love to me is still a critical component, whether guidance says it or not.
But now they also say it is.
But sometimes I'm like, I feel like they're just going to be like super waffly about this. But I get it. It's for educative purposes that they keep wanting to like untangle this so we can see all the threads.
A wild rebel who destroys has no consideration for the person next to them.
True.
However, a wild rebel's power channeled through someone who gives a shit about the world. That's transformative.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you build a world based on the values that matter, not on the separation of I am me and you are you. It's I am me and you and me and us and everything else, which means you're building a world filled with power in harmony.
Yes. And
so love facilitates all of that.
It helps to, yes.
Yeah.
It does help too, as does compassion and harmony in those tenets, tolerance, etc. Yeah, I think that's why they're like, it's not always about love, because they want us to see all the other threads. Because not everyone is going to, as we said before, not everyone's going to grasp love in the capital L way or the all caps love. Like, it just may not be in everyone's wiring. We do have to present these other offerings and concepts so people can at least grasp one thread, so it's not lost on them entirely. That's why. Now, what's interesting, and it's kind of made me sort of think about some of those dystopian movies where you have these like well-intentioned rebel groups or these well-intentioned factions, yet within those factions, hierarchies end up getting formed, and then some people become quite dogmatic or unforgiving, a bit draconian. Like, okay, well, if we're going to have harmony, if we're going to have love, if this is going to be the root, then it can only be done this way. So the reason why this episode comes last in Bliss, in this first Bliss season, I should say, is because that's how a lot of people are going to start approaching this new world building. I mean, those movies are not without coincidence, right? And they are mildly prophetic in that respect, which is if we are understanding bliss through the lens of separation. That is why well-meaning and well-intentioned approaches to peace and harmony have always fallen apart. Because we keep applying those kind of, it's either or to something that cannot be. Yeah.
And I guess that's where the power of the divine to destroy is important, because we have to destroy all of separation
first.
Yes.
But build that at the same time, because we have by our nature, and again, this is what's been stemmed by the tent poles, which is we have a very dominating nature. Because the divine by nature dominates. How else are you going to be able to create a world if you can't dominate it? But that sense of domination has become so skewed through polarity.
It's over other people.
Yes, exactly. But we also have to understand that if we are truly evolved into bliss or happy, we can understand then that we don't have to write over another person's fate. There is room for everyone. So that way, our fate does not supersede the fate of another. And just because I'm more evolved, as in I'm in bliss, but you're not, doesn't mean I know better or that I'm more powerful than you. Rather, I'm just using my power for my life specifically. And while my life might influence yours or touch yours in such a way, it will not be to your detriment.
And I remember that's what you said that day to me when I was saying I'm scared of using my power. You said, but does everyone benefit when you do? It's not because I decide that it's for their benefit, but it's because if I'm free to be me, then you are free to be you. And therefore, we all have something.
Yeah. And there's room for all in this bliss and in this new world. And that's what we've been fighting against for so long. And that's what we're going to be seeing. And that's what we have been seeing for the past couple of years, and especially coming to a head this year is, can we really agree that there is room for all of us? And what all of that means as far as our belief systems and who we really are at our core. Can we acknowledge that there's room for that?
And do we need to destroy anything that gets in the way of stemming anyone's power? This episode is brought to you by Karma Magic Bliss. For more information, resources, and links to our books, check out our website, karmamagicbliss.com, and Karma Magic Bliss across all socials.
And if you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review.